You gotta come down here with an attitude, acting all big and bad. And what the hell is that smell? I could have been at a barbecue!
What's good, people? Agent Juice reporting for duty. Well, the time has come. It is time to talk about Kipo in the Age of Wonderbeasts. For those of you who watched my my video on the Owl House, you'll notice there was a lot of times in that video I was ragging on Kipo. Well, now we're here, and now it is time I talk about Kipo, and why I feel it didn't click with me as well as I would have liked it to. So, without further ado, let us do the very appropriate thing that they did in Kipo that we are doing here, and lock ourselves in a bunker. Snuggle up tight with your favorite horrid mutant talking animal. Go ahead and once again smash that like button to appease the oligarch overlords that rule our pathetic lives. And let's get into the video. To start off, let's talk about the picture I'm drawing. This particular picture is of Kipo's dad, Leo Oak. And when I first saw Leo, he reminded me a lot of Will Smith. And so I thought, like, oh, I'll draw Kipo's dad, Leo, as Will Smith in Independence Day. You know the famous scene, Welcome to Earth, punches the alien. That's actually not this specific scene. This is actually the scene afterward where he, lights a cigar and says, like, talk about a close encounter, right? So that's the explanation of that. So it's a Independence Day Kipo crossover. Ugh, I had a burp in there that didn't come out. It is a Kipo Independence Day crossover pick. That's what's going on here. Kipo. Why did I not connect as much as I would have liked? It has a lot going for it. I will say that. It's got a nice creative world. It's the premise is that something happened hundreds of years ago where the apocalypse happened and all the humans ran underground. And above ground, all the animals mutated into all kinds of different things, either growing to massive sizes or becoming completely different species. But a lot of things that happen is a lot of them, not all of them, developed sapience. So now they're talking weirdo animals. And so Kipo is the story of the character Kipo, and she, through circumstances, is ejected out of her burrow and is forced onto the surface world that she's never been on before, and she needs to find the new burrow that her people went to in order to be reunited with her dad, because I guess the old burrow, not I guess, it did get compromised, which is why she was ejected out of it. And so now she needs to find the new burrow where they're all meeting up. And that's the premise of Kipo. I think my biggest problem with Kipo is actually Kipo herself, because I feel like she wasn't all there in her struggle. I feel like she didn't struggle as much as I would have really appreciated. So what I'm going to do is something that I find to be a little unfair, but I'm going to do it anyway, and I'm going to compare Kipo with another character. That being Luce from the Owl House. I feel like Kipo and Luce fill a similar character archetype, and I feel that Luce did the job better than Kipo. I don't want to say that Kipo entirely didn't struggle, because that's factually incorrect. She did go through a lot of trials and tribulations. However, she didn't feel as emotionally engaged to these struggles as Luce did with her own. It felt like Luce felt more like she was losing more and had more to sacrifice for everything she did than Kipo does with everything she does. I am very, very, very hesitant to do what I'm about to do, but I am about to call Kipo the N-word. And by the N-word, I mean the M-word. And by the M-word, I mean Mary Sue. This is a very, very heavy accusation I am levying against Kipo. So I am going to have to very carefully explain my stance. Not only to stave off any potential ne'er-do-wells, but also because I don't fully believe Kipo is a 100% Mary Sue, but man, she comes close. When I think of Mary Sue has multiple definitions that have gone through, but there's kind of an agreed upon concept of a Mary Sue, in that a Mary Sue is a character who doesn't ever match the stakes of their story. What I mean by that is that they are never put in a position where they are on the back foot, when they feel like they are losing, where they feel like they are struggling. They go through a story without any kind of real stress upon their character that either forces them or encourages a change. A character, in order to be a good character as far as I'm concerned, must go from point A to point B in a story. You must be one way at the beginning of the story, and through your arc become a different person. Whether you improve as far as like a hero's journey, or you deteriorate as far as like a more like gritty fall from grace, like you would see in like a crime drama or something. The character has to evolve in a way that really puts a stress on how they see themselves, I believe, in order to be an effective character. And I am not seeing that stress of character in Kipo. I don't feel like she's being pushed in a satisfactory way. First off, let's kind of take her surroundings. We are led to believe early on that she is this naive burrow girl who's spat out into this big, bad, nasty wasteland. She's basically a Fallout character. She's been booted from her vault. She goes into the blazing sunlight and sees this insane world full of danger. And for the first, 15 minutes, they actually do really well. She's out there, she's confused, she's going, what's going on? One of the things that they establish is that, she can play guitar and she likes to sing because that was something she did with her dad. And, she's walking around, she sees this abandoned, you even see this in the trailer they have on Netflix. She's out there, she finds a guitar, and she's singing her little song, Up on Top on My Own, and then she's interrupted immediately by a giant bird.
Surface world.
And that felt very Owl House. That's something that happens a lot in the Owl House, where Luce sees something and she really enjoys it, but then the actual danger shows its face, and she's like, oh my god, okay, never mind. The problem is that this is not maintained. They establish Kipo is dumb and naive to the point where her crew that she hangs out with includes this one survivor girl named Wolf. And her thing is that she wears a wolf pelt. She has a giant scorpion stinger on the end of a metal pole. And she's like, ugh, survival, ugh. In fact, Kipo literally makes fun of her by doing survival. Ugh, she does the gritty voice and everything. Ugh, I must survive. And of course, Wolf looks at her going ugh, you clown, you plebeian, you fool from the cushy burrows. I will show you the way of the real world because it's nasty out here. Okay? So they really drive the point home that Kipo is out of her element, and yet, time and time again, she's not punished for her naivete. She does not face the natural consequences of the character that she's meant to be. She is our audience surrogate, okay? We understand that even though she doesn't come from our lives, the life in the burrow is about as close to a normal American comfy first world life that you can get in this kind of setting. She had running water, she had a roof over her head, she went to school. Another thing about her is that she's an astronomy nerd because her dad is an astronomy teacher, so she's really big into it. And here she is going out into this rough world. Okay, so you're taking this cushy, soft character and throwing them out essentially into the wilderness. Okay, and all they have to survive is the begrudging help from a survivor, that being the character Wolf. But there are many times where she pulls a Steven Universe, and what I mean by that is there are many times where they come across these incredibly dangerous clans of talking animals who want to murder them, but she somehow magically manages to befriend them by literally singing to them. Now, that can be cool, okay? It was done in Steven Universe, right? I give Steven Universe more of a break in that aspect because Steven Universe went out of its way to say oh, we're a happy, cuddly, touchy-feely show about caring and sharing, and we sing songs, and everyone feels happy, kumbaya. And I was just like, okay, that's the story that Rebecca Sugar wants to tell. I'm all for it. I'll let you do your thing. So when Steven strums his little ukulele to sing, and he hugs all the gems and turns genocidal fascists into hippies, okay, sure, whatever. That's Steven Universe. But Kipo is establishing that this world is here to spit you up and chew you up and spit you out. But she doesn't get that. You know, she's never chewed up and spat out. Like, she's better at surviving than Wolf, which is like, really? Okay. Like again, if the tone of this series was more like Tenacious D, right, where everything was solved through the power of metal, then it would be cool when she literally stops murderous snakes from killing her because she plays a cool riff, because the snakes are like rock star themed. So she like takes one of their guitar off of their neck. Okay, so she does that and she doesn't get her head bitten off. All right, like it would. I wish that she was this naive, and she was punished for it, and Wolf was constantly trying to save her, right? So she goes like, hey, I'll rock out with these cool snakes. Here, let me touch that guitar. And that snake goes like, yeah, like hell you are, and like goes down to bite her, and Wolf has to like grab her out of the way or like jump in front and like clash with her scorpion stinger, and then like, you know, really lay into Kipo saying like, you can't do this sing-song crap out here, okay? Everyone is out to kill you. Okay, and that's not to say that Kipo has no right to befriend people, because that really is her strength. The problem is that it's just too damn easy to befriend these creatures out in this wild. And I suppose their argument could be that in this big bad world, everyone doesn't have friends, and so it's nice. It's an alleviation to see someone who's actually willing to give you a helping hand. But again, that's more Steven Universe thing, and this is not a very Steven Universe-y show. It's not touchy-feely and huggy. It's trying to be brutal, and I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing the brutality punish Kipo. And then, of course, spoiler alerts. Halfway through the series, she suddenly develops superpowers. Like, she can literally turn into an animal. And I'm just like, okay. What? What the fuck? Don't get me wrong, superpowers are cool. I love superpowers. If anything, I kind of wish that they tipped their hand a bit earlier. You know, because the scene where she gains superpowers is like literally halfway through. Okay, she's been going through these dangerous situations where, you know, it's a life or death situation and they have to get out. And all of a sudden, there's this very specific life or death situation where Wolf is surrounded by wolves, like sapient wolves, and she's about to get attacked, but it's like pitch black and no one can see anything. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they do this shot where they zoom into Kipo's eyes and her DNA glows, and all of a sudden, she gets like snake eyes and night vision. And she's like, whoa, I have night vision, bro. And she's like, Wolf, behind you. Oh, and like, you know, Wolf ducks and like, you know, follows her instructions, and she's able to beat up all these wolves. And Wolf should have had the superpowers, okay? Can you imagine that? Like, Wolf has because like she's been on the surface, it kind of like Fallout, like she's was born in the mutation, and so in order to survive, the mutation hyper evolved her into having animal superpowers. But Kipo has it for some reason, and you'd think that they would do something like early in the first episode where like they would maybe establish like I have a headache, and like one of the characters is like, oh, what's wrong, Kipo? And he's like, oh, well, you know, I would always have these headaches when the lights were out, and like the lights would be too bright, and of course like hinting that she has night vision, or like when she gets animal arms and she gets fur and everything. And like you have a great opportunity to have like an awkward puberty joke there, right? And so it's like, you know, like you growing hair in funny places, and the characters are like, oh yeah, ooh, and like, you know, maybe some of them are like, oh yeah, I know that, and other characters are like, ooh, TMI, ooh, like, man. But here I am rewriting someone else's work. That's not my place, and I understand that. I am just simply saying that Kipo just doesn't do it for me, because I'm not interested in her story because she's not struggling enough. I'm more interested in Wolf, honestly. Wolf's story captivates me more than Kipo's story, and that's a problem because Kipo's the main character. The fact that Kipo is outshining Wolf at her own game really threw me for a loop. But here we are. Who knows? Maybe stuff picks up in the next season. But enough ranting. I think you guys get the point. So if you guys like what you see and you want to see more, go ahead and hit those sacred buttons to keep the channel alive, and let me know what you think. Go ahead and comment below, because once again, here I am sharing my negative opinions on the internet. Oh, how dare I. Go ahead and let me have it in the comments if you believe I deserve it. Also, if you guys want to share this, I would love that, because it does the video good, and it lets the world know that you watch quality content. In addition, if you wish to stalk me elsewhere on the interbuts, you can always hit up my intro video in the link in the description box down below, where that is where I put all my external links to all of my other social media, or I can just put them here on the screen so you can type them out manually, because you're a caveman and you don't understand technology and you're doing things the long way around. But with all that said, I thank you for spending this time with me. I hope you all stick around, and until next time, do seals.